Welcome to the absolute garbage game review of my favourite game in the Turok franchise. No, not Turok 2, no, not the first one, and definitely not the reboot made in 2008. Let us begin. 2002 saw the release of some amazing games including Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2, RE Remake, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Kingdom Hearts, and Age of Mythology. Not a bad year so far, and we haven't even mentioned the best first-person shooter released that year, Turok Evolution. I found the Turok series year beforehand on the Nintendo 64, which I loved. The big levels, the big dinosaurs, the big guns, and the big soundtrack. It was a nice change from other shooters at the time that were mostly indoors and confined to small areas, whereas this new Turok game had so much space to explore, whilst also those claustrophobic places like tunnels and caverns still remained. The levels were so huge that finding your way around can take some time, and traversing the land can be whack at times, because it includes first-person platforming with the mostly garbage controls on arguably the most crud controller invented. If you could look past those things, then you'd have a great time with this game, blasting dinosaurs, soldiers, and harmless animals. Now, I can't comment on the sequels for the Nintendo 64, as I haven't played many hours with any of them, and I understand the second one is usually regarded as the best. But for now, my favourite is Evolution, which released on Gamecube, PS2, Xbox and PC. It was one of my first Gamecube games after I traded in my Nintendo 64 and a dozen or so forgettable games. I was so hyped up after starting up the game and watching the brutal cinematic. Check it out. See what I mean? That intro kicked dick. The game actually has a story with actual cutscenes, which I thought looked so lifelike at the time. I didn't think we'd ever see actual gameplay from games in the future look this good. Okay, so after the first cutscene we begin as Telset, with little more than a bow and an axe, and thrust into the jungle for the first time. We see peaceful dinosaurs in the distance, pterodons flying over, and a waterfall looks so detailed compared to anything on the PS1 or 64. First instinct is to go out and attack the dinos and see what happens, and the Triceratops fucks me up. I should have used Alan Grant's technique in the Jurassic Park games, don't you think? Moving on, we encounter the real enemy in the game, the Sleg. They are reptilian soldiers that vary in size and strength. There's the smaller scouts and snipers that can be killed with one good shot of the pistol or one hit with the war axe. There's these larger twats that carry a rifle or shotgun. These shotgun pricks piss me off. Then there's the larger Sleg that carry shotguns, miniguns, or rocket launchers. Those are the main enemy types you face, but there's also these commanders, teleporting pricks, and even Slegs on dinosaurs. I've always loved the enemy variety in this game, and thankfully Telset has some decent weaponry to defend himself. He's got the signature bow with his new war axe that cuts through prehistoric scum with extreme violence. His pistol, which at first seems underpowered, can transform into a sniper at the click of the alternate fire button to drop reptiles from a distance. The shotgun, again, feels underpowered, until you pick up the charge shot allowing you up to 4 shells at once. The fletched gun is whack, but it can take down enemies whilst remaining stealthy, and can fire underwater. Its minigun attachment needs no introduction. Here it is. The rocket launcher is as powerful as you'd expect, and has a swarm bore attachment for you gore lovers. And the nuke attachment to wipe out anything that stands in Telset's way. The gravity disruptor is whack in my opinion. It's only good for targeting one enemy at a time and throwing them into the pits of hell. The plasma cannon is incredibly powerful, but uses lots of ammo. Make every shot count with this one. The grenades take out groups and make larger enemies dive out of the way. They are good for getting them out of cover. The dark matter cube is one of the most powerful weapons in the game, causing a huge explosion, killing any enemy in its radius. The flamethrower is exactly what it is. Its secondary fire mode shoots 3 napalm rounds that instantly kill any slag they touch. Moving on to the levels themselves. They are large and varied, just like the weapons. From the jungles of the Lost Land to the gigantic slag fortress, which features Indiana Jones style traps, then onto the city streets for some urban warfare. Most levels are spacious and have alternate paths, and little secret areas that contain health pickups, weapons, and upgrades. Most levels are linear. However, there's a few that spice things up a bit where you have to destroy a certain amount of objectives or kill all the snipers in a level. The developers also added something completely new to the series, and in my opinion, the most garbage aspect of the game. Flying levels. Believe it or not, this is where James Cameron got his inspiration for Avatar. Hell set flying a giant lizard that is equipped with a 50 cal and a rocket launcher. This bird means business as you destroy airships, enemy camps, and dogfight the slag in the sky. The problem with these levels is the sheer precision you must display to pass all of the tight, whack spaces. The controls aren't the best either. Nothing like Rogue Squadron. So you'll crash into a cliff, get shot down by flak cannons, or get crushed by falling boulders. It would be acceptable if it was just a once-off level, but you'll be flying around multiple times throughout the game, and it always breaks up the pace. They are bland at best, and can be downright frustrating garbage at worst. Back on land, and not everything is perfect either. The AI for the time would have been acceptable had Halo Combat Evolved not come out the year before, but it did, and this AI can do some funky stuff at times, like spinning in circles, or walking into their own thrown grenades. The friendly AI is no better, honestly. Some of the infiltration missions lead you to believe that stealth is a viable option to proceed, instead of mowing down the enemy. This is true in some places, but most times after you kill an enemy, their whole squad knows exactly where you are with pinpoint accuracy. There's less platforming than the original game, and it's executed slightly better here. However, Telset does struggle on some terrain, and really struggles on ladders. Despite these garbage features and funky glitches, I still find this game fun to play. It feels like an epic adventure with the ginormous stages. Even though the flying sections suck, I do appreciate the sense of scale as you maneuver the bird between chasms and huge ancient temples. Okay, the AI sucks compared to 2023 standards, but at least the enemy takes cover when firing at a distance, or charges you if you are close. The enemies, both slag and dinos, are varied and extremely dangerous. Did I mention we have a T-Rex? This is a big dumb game with big dumb guns and enemies. It's just big dumb fun overall, and I award it a score of good. Night Dive Studios did an amazing job freshening up Turok 1 and 2. I would love it if they could give Evolution the same treatment. I can't be the only one, surely.